Hello and welcome to English Language and Literature. Today, we will be exploring William Shakespeare's play, Othello. In this tragic tale, we follow the story of Othello, a respected general in the Venetian army, who becomes consumed by jealousy and suspicion over his wife's fidelity. Without further ado, let's get started. Act 1 of Othello by William Shakespeare sets the stage for the rest of the play by introducing the characters and the conflicts that drive the story forward. The act opens with Roderigo, a wealthy gentleman, expressing his love for Desdemona, the daughter of a senator named Brabantio. Roderigo is upset that Desdemona has married Othello, a Moorish general in the Venetian army. Roderigo and Iago, Othello's ensign, then go to Brabantio's house to inform him of his daughter's marriage. Iago, who hates Othello, uses racist language to convince Brabantio that his daughter has been deceived and stolen away by Othello. Brabantio confronts Othello, accusing him of using magic to win Desdemona's love. Othello defends himself by telling the story of how he won Desdemona's love by telling her tales of his adventures. One of the most famous dialogues in Act 1 occurs when Brabantio accuses Othello of using magic to seduce his daughter. Othello responds with the lines, "Most potent, grave, and reverend signors, my very noble and approved good masters, that I have ta'en away this old man's daughter, it is most true, true I have married her. The very head in front of my offending hath this extent, no more." Othello's calm and respectful demeanor in the face of Brabantio's anger and accusations highlights his noble character. The act ends with Othello being summoned to the Duke's palace to discuss a military threat from the Turks. Othello takes Desdemona with him, and Roderigo and Iago follow, setting the stage for the conflicts that will unfold in the rest of the play. Act 2 of Othello by William Shakespeare begins with Othello arriving in Cyprus with his new wife, Desdemona, and his lieutenant, Cassio. They learn that a storm has destroyed the Turkish fleet, and the island is safe from invasion. The act focuses on the relationships between the characters and the ongoing scheming of Iago. The act opens with a discussion between Cassio and Iago about the virtues of Desdemona. Iago tells Cassio that he should seek her favor in order to win promotion, planting the seeds of his later plot to manipulate Cassio into betraying Othello. One of the most famous dialogues in Act 2 is when Iago reveals his plan to ruin Cassio's reputation and get revenge on Othello. He says, "I have it is engendered. Hell and night must bring this monstrous birth to the world's light." This famous line reveals Iago's evil nature and sets the stage for the events to come. Meanwhile, Roderigo continues to express his love for Desdemona and his frustration with Othello. Iago convinces him to provoke Cassio into a fight, hoping to get Cassio demoted and out of the way. Later, Iago gets Cassio drunk and provokes him into a fight with Roderigo. When the commotion attracts Othello's attention, Iago manipulates the situation to make it seem as though Cassio is responsible for the disturbance. As a result, Othello fires Cassio and leaves him in Iago's care. The act ends with Iago setting his sights on Desdemona, planting seeds of doubt in Othello's mind about her loyalty. Iago tells Othello that Cassio and Desdemona have a secret relationship, further fueling his jealousy. As the audience watches the intricate plot unfold, they are drawn deeper into the psychological drama that drives the play forward. Act 3 of Othello by William Shakespeare is a pivotal act in the play, as it marks the turning point in the relationship between Othello and Desdemona. The act also features the climax of Iago's scheming and the consequences of his actions. The act opens with Cassio lamenting his loss of reputation, asking Desdemona for her help in convincing Othello to reinstate him. Desdemona agrees and promises to speak to Othello on Cassio's behalf. One of the most famous dialogues in Act 3 is when Othello becomes increasingly jealous of Desdemona and Cassio's relationship, despite Desdemona's innocence. Othello says, "Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy, it is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. This famous line highlights Othello's growing paranoia and the destructive nature of jealousy. As Iago continues to manipulate Othello, he suggests that Cassio and Desdemona are having an affair. Iago's lies and insinuations fuel Othello's jealousy and suspicion. In a crucial scene, Iago convinces Othello to eavesdrop on a conversation between himself and Cassio, in which Cassio talks about Bianca, a courtesan he has been seeing. Othello mistakenly believes that Cassio is talking about Desdemona, further fueling his rage and jealousy. The act ends with Othello's violent outburst towards Desdemona, culminating in him striking her in public. The audience is left to contemplate the tragic consequences of Othello's jealousy and Iago's manipulation. As the tension and drama escalate in Act 3, the audience is drawn further into the psychological complexities of the play. The themes of jealousy, betrayal, and revenge are brought to the forefront, as the characters' flaws and weaknesses are exposed with devastating consequences. Act 4 of Othello by William Shakespeare is a pivotal act that sets the stage for the tragic conclusion of the play. The act features the fallout of Othello's violent outburst towards Desdemona and the continued scheming of Iago. The act opens with a conversation between Iago and Othello, in which Iago convinces Othello that Desdemona is guilty of infidelity. He tells Othello that he has seen Cassio with a handkerchief that Othello gave to Desdemona, implying that they are having an affair. One of the most famous dialogues in Act 4 is when Othello is consumed by his jealousy and rage, and decides to kill Desdemona. He says, "Oh, blood, blood, blood! I'll not shed her blood, nor scar that whiter skin of hers than snow, and smooth as monumental alabaster." This famous speech reveals the extent of Othello's despair and desperation, as he contemplates the murder of his own wife. Meanwhile, Desdemona and Emilia discuss the situation, with Desdemona proclaiming her innocence and asking Emilia to fetch her handkerchief. However, Emilia has given the handkerchief to Iago, who uses it to further manipulate Othello. In a crucial scene, Othello confronts Desdemona and accuses her of infidelity. Despite her protests of innocence, Othello strangles her to death. The scene is heart-wrenching and tragic, as Desdemona's purity and innocence are contrasted with Othello's blind rage and jealousy. The act ends with Iago's plot finally being revealed, as Emilia exposes his lies and manipulations. Othello is left devastated by the realization of what he has done, and the audience is left to contemplate the tragic consequences of his actions. As the play hurtles towards its devastating conclusion, Act 4 raises the stakes and intensifies the drama. The themes of jealousy, betrayal, and revenge are taken to their tragic extremes, as the characters' flaws and weaknesses are laid bare for all to see. Act 5 of Othello by William Shakespeare is the final act of the play, and it features the tragic conclusion of the story. The act is marked by the final moments of several key characters and the resolution of the plot. The act opens with Roderigo attacking Cassio, as he realizes that Iago has betrayed him. However, Cassio is able to overcome Roderigo and wounds him. Iago then appears and kills Roderigo, tying up one of the final loose ends of his plot. One of the most famous dialogues in Act 5 is when Othello confronts Iago, realizing that he has been manipulated into killing Desdemona. Othello says, "Oh, I have lost my reputation. I have lost the immortal part of myself, and what remains is bestial. My reputation, Iago, my reputation." This famous line highlights Othello's realization of the extent of his mistakes and the irreparable damage that has been done to his reputation and honor. In a crucial scene, Emilia reveals Iago's plot to Othello, exposing his lies and manipulations. Othello is filled with regret and remorse for his actions, but it is too late to undo the damage that has been done. The act ends with Othello taking his own life, after finally realizing the truth about Desdemona's innocence and Iago's deceit. The play ends with the tragic death of Othello, as well as the punishment of Iago for his crimes. As the play reaches its conclusion, Act 5 brings the themes of jealousy, betrayal, and revenge to their ultimate conclusion. The tragic consequences of the characters' actions are laid bare, and the audience is left to contemplate the devastating consequences of unchecked emotions and desires. This ends our lecture. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, English Language and Literature, for more videos like this.